Hey everyone, today's episode is brought to you by our incredible sponsors that help make this show happen.
The Outdoor Podcast is proudly brought to you by XOP Outdoors, Carbon Express, Block Targets, Moultrie, Gas Bowstrings, and Burris Optics. Produced by BowHunterPlanet. We thank you for tuning in and being a part of our outdoor heritage.
Grab your favorite bow, your pack, your chair, and let's get started.
Hey guys, welcome to the Outdoor Podcast. Dave Thomas here, around Chris James from Faradyne, who came to give us a visit here. I appreciate you stopping in, man.
No problem.
Awesome.
I'm fresh off the airplane.
Yeah, I was going to say, how'd that flight go?
It went good. I slept the whole way. I was up at 2 this morning,
Nice.
driving to the airport. So, tonight when I'm driving back, I'm going to be running on fumes, but that's all right. Energy drinks and pre-workout if I need to.
Probably used to with all the travel for work, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, what's new? Well, first off, let's talk about this partnership. So I appreciate you guys coming in, stepping in the arrow segment, the block segment for the targets. I'm really excited about this for a lot of reasons. But number one, as I said to you before, Carbon Express is a brand that's synonymous with Michigan. It's something that started, here a long time ago.
Right.
And it is so exciting for me to have a chance to represent that brand, I guess is my point. It's like, it's just so exciting. And I feel like Carbon Express is one of those brands that just doesn't get enough attention, and it just needs as much as possible. And absolutely. I feel like in this scenario, BowHunterPlanet can help bring that. I really do. I feel like the arrows are amazing. They've always been. I mean, we shot Carbon Express Maximum Reds for years, and the Blue Streaks back in the day. I mean, we had all those for years back when they were in Michigan, of course.
Right.
They were right here. But it was just, it was never a fail. You know what I mean? To us, it was always a positive thing, So very excited about that one. And obviously the target segment as well with Block. One of the things that really was interesting to me, how light they are. You can really move these targets compared to other brands.
Yes.
These are like the easiest movable targets that are, so well made. But it seems simple, but they're not. That's
Right.
I like that about it.
Yeah, it's because it's the whole friction not force thing, right? Mm-hmm. So with that layered technology on a block target, it works just like the brake system on your car. It squeezes that arrow and it slows it down, right? Versus running into a brick wall to stop the car. That's what your arrow does every time it goes into a lot of targets. Is it's just going into something compact, really, really heavy that it can't go through, and that's why that they're a lot more portable, a lot easier to deal with, and just more enjoyable to shoot. I mean, the whole point of archery is to have fun, right? Like that's what we're out here for. Like whether we're out in the yard, whether we're going to an event, whether we're no matter what we're doing, whether we're going hunting, like the whole point is to have fun. We do it as a hobby, and now we may get a little over passionate occasionally.
I think we all do here too much.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's about having fun, right? So I mean, that's really what we want is to make it an enjoyable experience for people out there to shoot.
And it's easy to move them, right? So like the little ones, you can take them anywhere. I know like Jamie and his son Travis here, who's helping us film today. They'll take those targets to their local archery range. That they have the hay bales.
Yep.
Remember the hay bales?
Yep. Hay bales. Yep.
For those who don't know, hay bales were the original thing, and people basically when the bows started getting good, right, in the late '90s, maybe before that, but we'll just call it late '90s. I guess once we got out of the XX 75, 78 era, where the arrows are so fat they would hit and stick in the hay. Yep. Then all of a sudden the new performance arrows are just blazing right through, and especially if you started a hole.
The old pultruded carbon arrows with the outserts on them. I mean, you remember those? I mean, that was Carbon Express had some of the original carbon arrows that were out there. I mean, back in the day. And that was the thing; people couldn't stop them, but you did mend them, So that was when targets had to evolve, and then late '90s. Yeah, I think 97. Is that what it says on here? 97? Yeah, 97. I had to double check that. But 97 Block was actually formed from a guy, he was trying to make a target like a dartboard. He originally started trying to wind it from the inside out, but it doesn't have enough compression. So he went from winding it to stacking layers of foam. Yeah. And that's how Block actually got started, because you couldn't at the time. There was no really broadhead targets. Everybody shot into sand. If you remember back in the day, you had to shoot into sand for broadheads. And there were broadhead tournaments, and they would have paper targets with big sand traps behind them. Yep. And then, once you had the sand trap, then, everybody had, that's replacement blades were a big thing back then, because you'd get them dinged up, shooting into the sand. Yeah. And so that was a big thing. Well, Block targets was one of the first targets that you could actually shoot broadheads into and field points in, and it wasn't a chunk of styrofoam that we just blow right through it. So, I mean, it really did change the game. And, we're still working on making improvements to our foam. We're working on some new formulas right now to try to you have to constantly evolve and constantly keep up because, like you mentioned, the foam or the bows just keep getting faster. The arrows keep getting smaller.
Yeah.
Everything's happening, so you just really got to pay attention to all of that.
The good news is for you guys is that, like, in my opinion, the crossbow market has really kind of been that guide for you now because of the 500 plus. You're seeing, 400 25 plus right now. You're seeing that where, okay, guys, we got to make a target that can handle 500 now, right?
Yep.
Before it was like we didn't have to worry about it. Now all of a sudden, oh crap, we're pushed in this. There's no way around it. So the good news is you already have that technology. You're ready if the compound market can get, which I don't think that's going to happen. But that's just my opinion.
No,
I don't think you're going to get to that unless it's some weird design that completely changes things. Like the Deviant.
Yeah.
Unless you get into something that's just so different, you're like, man, what is going on here, you know? So speaking of Faradyne as a whole, right, you guys own a lot more brands. We've talked about Muzzy, Rage, just a couple of the names of many. What's that like, I guess, from a perspective of trying to manage all these brands? Because this is not easy. You're talking each one of these brands is legendary in its own. So how do you guys start? How does this work? You go into a meeting, what happens?
So we've taken a little bit different approach the last couple of years. So when I was the VP of sales, it was over all the brands, right? Like we had all the brands, and the sales teams work still like that. We went to the general manager approach a couple of years ago. That's when I became the GM of Archery, and we broke it up into a hunting section and then an archery section. Well, I still had 17 brands in archery. When you think about all the different target brands being their own. And then so we just recently, a couple months ago, broke it up even more. So now that there's a shooting, archery, and hunting. So Zach, if you remember Zach Godwin, you guys met him at ATA a couple times. He's actually over some of that. So now he has Carbon Express as his main brand. I've got Targets and Muzzy bow fishing. So like all the target brands to kind of get a little bit more focus. But it is tough because, even they're all big brands, right? Like they all need their own attention. They all have their own little idiosyncrasies and their own stories. And you have to know the history and where they're going. But we kind of break it up and kind of compartmentalize it so that each one gets their own say, so to speak. But there are upper tiers and lower tiers when it comes to priority and stuff. So yeah, we do break it out a little bit like that. And it's funny, some of the brands that we put the most energy into, you just have to keep doing it. Some of the ones you just kind of let them run, and they just keep going.
Yeah,
they're just the Energizer Bunny. They just keep doing what
do you mean,
do.
Rage?
Huh?
Rage is crazy. It's been so popular for so many years. I honestly, people will only shoot a Rage. That's what I think is amazing about that brand. Is people will talk about, like, we'll do a video on different broadheads, and people will say, I should have Rage, I'm good. It's very interesting, like, how loyal that group has been.
And there's so many, now, our first patent on slip cam came up a couple years ago, and there's been so many replications of that that have came out over the last 4 years. But even still, most people that want that technology are still shooting a Rage. Right? That's what they know. That's what they
tried
trust.
and true.
Yeah,
they know it's going to work. Now, I will say this. So a few years back, actually, Travis, you grab me that thing back there? It's a photo back in there. Yeah, back right up there. Yeah. Let's bring that over here. So this was my trip with Faradyne. I don't think you were on this trip.
Nope.
No.
Lazy CK.
Yeah, so this is the trip I did with Faradyne back in 2019. So in 2019, Tim Kent was helping Faradyne with some stuff, and he's like, hey, you should come on this hunt with us. I'll ask him if we can bring you guys. We'd love to have you come and test out some of the product. So they brought me to this ranch down in Texas. Wonderful experience. Like, everything about it was great. There was I think the president from Grandview Media was there, some other people, some other podcasters. And anyway, my point in the story here is that this experience for me changed a lot of things about Rage. So before this, I had shot Rage. I knew about Rage, of course, But when I went to this ranch, they gave me specifically, your products to use. It was like the Carbon Express arrows, the Rage broadheads.
Right.
I think it was a True Fire release, some different stuff. And I shot 4 animals with the Rage. All 4 went 15, 20 yards max. All 4 had huge blood trails. It was just a very good experience. And I think that really signified, when people ask me about Rage, this is what actually helps me now, because I'm like, well, you know, man, they're tried and true. Like, I did it. I experienced it. I went through it. I got the deer and the animals in the studio to show it. And, you know, everybody there has success. No one really had issues or anything like that, you know, because people love to, you know, not to throw the monkey in here, but people love to go back to the 3-blade issue they had years ago with the Rage 3-blade. And the only thing I ever saw happen was one opened on a guy and he missed, whatever. The other one, he hit a branch. You know what I mean? So it's like if you hit a branch, something's going to deploy midstream. That doesn't even count. Like that's like timeout. That's not an issue. It could be any brand, even a fixed blade could still, you know, you hit a branch, it's going to deflect.
It's going to deflect, yeah.
One opening too, we don't know if it was open before. You know, sometimes. Yeah, and this is a long time ago.
With the O-rings, O-rings back then, you had to be so careful when you put them in the quiver, when you took them out of the quiver. Make sure you know you didn't get them hung on something. Yeah. If you drew too fast and it would like, you know how your arrow bounces sometimes. If that can cause them to people. There's so many things that people do in that fraction of a second when they get to draw. They don't want to check, and that's why the evolution of it has been so important because you tried to eliminate all those little things that people had happen over the course of the years. That's like, oh well, this is what caused that, or this is what caused that. So it's like you take that list and you find the issues and you just kind of start narrowing it down. Yeah. We're gonna pause, guys, for a quick commercial break, but I appreciate you guys being here, and we'll be back with Chris in a second.
What does it mean to be unrivaled? To be unrivaled isn't about winning a trophy. It's about putting in the hours that nobody else sees. To be unrivaled isn't just a choice, it's a lifestyle. It's to push yourself to be your best day in and day out. Gas Bowstrings. Be unrivaled.
All right, guys, we're back with Chris James here from Faradyne, and we are talking about the Faradyne brands today and all the great stuff they bring to the table for you, the consumer. One of the brands we're about to talk about here is Muzzy, and Muzzy is a brand that, you know, goes so far back, Chris. I don't even know where to begin with it, but the original Muzzy, you know, I think it was the 3-blade. I don't know if it came in a pack of 6. You guys probably still have that.
We do. So actually, the original Muzzy, it started in '84, was actually a 4-blade design. Most people don't know that Muzzy started as a 4-blade. And it was a 4-blade for a long time. So the Masakia family, John Masakia Sr. started it, and he actually was owned restaurants in New York City in the 70s, sold those and went to Africa on safari, and shot a Cape Buffalo with a longbow, and ended up the broadheads of the time, I won't name them, but they were hitting the ribs and they were just folding over there, a cut on contact style head.
Yep.
So he ended up shooting that, I think, 3 times with a bow, and then had to put it down with a rifle. And he came back, and his whole purpose in life was to create a never-fail broadhead. So one that would bust through bone, that could handle it. And the very first animal he killed with it was a Shiras moose. And he took an old, like, an XX-75, and he had slotted the aluminum and actually had the blades going down in the aluminum of the arrow and connecting together. And he threaded it so that it had the trocar tip on there. And that was, he sheared the femur bone of a Shiras moose with a longbow, like back in the day. So that was kind of a cool thing, and that's where it started. Yeah. Well, then, so like through the early '80s, the late '80s, it was just the 4-blades. That was all they had. They had a huge allotment of 4-blades. Well, then in I think '93 they launched the 3-blade.
That's my time era.
Yep,
that's why I know that one.
Yep. So that was when they launched the 3-blade, and it was the 125 back then. The 100 wasn't even a thing.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't even find a 100-grain broadhead back then. So, they did that, and then it became popular. And then as you started getting later in the 90s, 100 grains became more popular. So they had the 75, 100, and 125 in the 3-blade, and then I think in a 4-blade we had like 90 all the way to 160. Something like that, 165 or something like that. Like they had some crazy grain weights in the 4-blade, but so Muzzy, that was kind of the history of Muzzy, and the thing that made it unique at the time was the aluminum ferrules, so you could get a bigger cutting diameter with the trocar tip, but all of the blades interlocked. Either they interlocked together like this, or you actually had 2 blades in a slot where you had one little bend and then you had the actual sharpened blade kind of connecting. So it made a column of steel throughout that aluminum ferrule, and then that gave it the strength. All the rest of them were a solid aluminum ferrule. They just had slits in it that the blade would sit in, And so the steel wasn't really giving it any structure. So you would have some failures and things like that from that. So that's really the design that made Muzzy, the pad to the bone breaking stuff.
That was sweet, man.
Yeah.
That front to head where it would splint a bone if it hit. Oh my God. We used to, my cousin Brian, he is a part of the website. He does a lot of content with us.
Yep. He
still shoots that to this day. He loves. Every time I tell him, like, hey, can you shoot this? He's like, I don't know, man. My Muzzy.
We still sell more of that.
It.
We still sell more of that broadhead than we do any other broadhead. Yeah,
it's
crazy.
Because so many people. You got to remember, it goes back from the '90s to now, right? So people in the '90s era probably still, and still me, even I still think of that head as a dominant head. Like I would use that in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
But I will say this, and I do want to throw. I was telling Travis a story earlier about the Muzzy 1. So the Muzzy 1 and me have this interesting relationship. So I took this broadhead out. I'm trying to think what happened. Something happened with a different broadhead, so I switched to the Muzzy 1. And I had, I'm trying to think how this happened. I don't know if it was the doe or the buck first, but this buck, whatever. I sat in this tree stand 2 seconds. This buck comes out. Beautiful buck. This is during COVID, actually, 2020. This buck comes out.
Nice.
And I literally got in my stand, put my bag down, turn around, there's a buck. And I'm like, no way. And it was a shooter, it's coming in, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So I grab my bow, grab my arrow, pull back the bow. All this happens so fast. This is like GoPro style, right? It's just quick. Everything's quick. Smoke this thing at 30 yards with that head. It runs, dies. And I get it. And I couldn't believe it. It actually, that moment at where we were hunting broke, I don't know what we call it, the curse. It was like this curse. We literally didn't get deer for like 3 years, and we would shoot and hit deer, miss deer. It was crazy. And we're like, there's no way we're getting it, right? Okay, I hit it, but there's no way. But no, double lunged it. It went 20 yards, dropped. Didn't know that. I was sitting there going, what do I do? Should I go down? Should I not? So got that, very successful, very exciting. But then literally like maybe 2 days later, I was sitting in a different stand, and I had the Muzzy 1 on a crossbow. And I'm sitting there, and this doe comes in at 46 yards, and it stops. I'm like, I'm going to take a shot, Not knowing if I hit it or not, because it's a fixed blade on a crossbow. I wasn't sure,
Yep.
And I aimed at the heart. I fired, and it hit the thing in the heart. I couldn't believe it. Like, I was like, no way.
Yep.
That just hit it where I thought, and then so it runs, it dies literally right there. I get down like 10 minutes later, and we, when we gutted it, it officially actually hit the heart. And I'm like, I just was blown away, because a lot of times you just assume as a crossbow user, when you're using a crossbow, that a fixed blade's a little bit risky. You start to think like, I don't know, can it really fly the flight? But that one, man, I tell everybody about that. In fact, some guy asked me the other day, he goes, hey, I got it in my text. He said, what should I use for this crossbow? And it's like a 10-point, one of those high-end ones. I said, well, I took a picture of that one, sent it to him. I said, this one's tried and true, my friend.
Yep. It's crazy. People, and there are occasions where you get a crossbow where you may have to adjust your aiming point so that it's hitting with your broadheads, but they are so consistent. They when you get really, really fast, they do tend to fly a little bit different than your field points, but they are always consistent. And you take all that worry of a pre-deployment with a crossbow out of it, right?
Yeah, that's crazy. Let's talk for a minute about something that I know you're passionate about, because you're working it a lot, but bow fishing. So. Yep. Muzzy, at what point, I guess, let's step back for a minute. When did Muzzy get into bow fishing market? Like what year-ish?
So it would have been, they had some patents on it back in the late 80s, early 90s.
Oh, holy cow.
Yeah, so there used to be a little, and when we were in Cartersville, there was like a little glass showcase museum that we had like dates on it. I don't remember exactly, but I want to say the Muzzy Fish Point patent was like early 90s, because it ran out in the late 2000s, sometime in there, so it's 20 years. So it would have been sometime in the early 90s that he had that fish point on there.
Wow.
So yeah, it's been in it from a long time, and I'm going to date myself here, but when I started in 2005 as an intern with Muzzy, they were, bow fishing was this tiny little segment of the business. And it actually, remember I don't know if you remember the Muzzy Zero Effect arrow rest, the arrow rest that like the inertia driven.
If I saw it, maybe
it worked off the cable slide, so it actually would push it down. So like that was a huge business for Muzzy at the time.
I think I know what it is.
It was like 20% of their sales, and by the time we had shifted over to when Fairdown purchased us, bow fishing had replaced that air rest, and the air rest was gone. So like the air rest era kind of came and went, and the bow fishing had grown to take that spot. So it's been there for a long time, and just kind of gets a bigger and bigger portion of ourselves every year.
So bow fishing as a whole, let's just talk about that for a minute. How many competitors do you guys actually have in that? Is it just a couple? Because I can only think of two.
You know,
is it only 3-ish of you guys?
There's a lot of little companies that kind of play in it. But if you're really thinking, you know,
like larger, I think there's two others.
There's AMS and Cajun.
Yeah, that's all I can
that are really major competitors. There's a few others that have some products in there, but
now,
those are the two main ones.
Let me ask you this: so in bow fishing, obviously in archery, there's a lot of patents. Mm-hmm. Is it the same in bow fishing? Do you guys share patents between each other, or use each other's patents, or don't use anybody's patents?
There's a lot of them. We don't have any royalties right now, as far as with competitors.
Because I know in the archery segment they share patents, they trade patents. There's a lot going on there.
Yeah,
people don't realize.
There's a lot of licensing that goes on. In the archery side of things, but no, right now we have a few inventors that we've worked with that we do some stuff with, but everything on IP side is just strictly our stuff.
I was just curious. I didn't know if it was like super busy, like the regular archery side. Now, do you guys run into that with your crossbows?
So we work with a crossbow manufacturer that we kind of give them the ideas, they go out and develop it, and then they kind of make what we want, and they actually do the IP on it. So
so you don't have to deal with that.
Don't have to deal with it. Now when we had
this,
yes, exactly. Now when we had our other axe, the original axe crossbows, that was all internal, and that was a ton of patents. Like during the 3-year development process on it, we had to change our design like 4 times because while we were going down the road, a new patent would get filed, and then once that patent's filed, then we had to change how we were actually going about it. So like, it's very. I can't imagine in the vertical bow market like how many times that happens because somebody files something that you're working
every
on.
day.
Oh yeah,
there's always a new cease and desist coming out every day.
Exactly.
And a lot of the companies, recently are making it a lot more public than I think it used to be. But I understand why, because when you're a little smaller, you need some support from the people as well. But so let's talk about axe for a minute. So how's that going for you guys? This segment right now?
It's going good. We really wanted to try to make a bow that was at an affordable price point that people could buy and use. We had the Rocky Mountain brand for a little while, and 'cause we kind of switched over from the Carbon Express bows to the Rocky Mountain. It was the same general bows. We just kind of changed the brand on it. But it's one of those things where people are always price conscious, but when you try to make stuff too price conscious, there's always a trade-off, right? So the life expectancy of that product is not going to be as high as if you make it a little bit higher priced. So we're trying to make a product that is not going to break the bank. It's not $1,000. It's in that $500-$600 range, and it's going to last for year after year after year, right? You buy it once, and you don't have to come back to the pro shop every year to get something fixed. You just buy it once and you roll. And I think you saw it when you guys did the test last year. A 500 shot cycle through there it actually got faster. The strings were really super
I was thinking
warm.
the same thing. I was like, wow, it actually got faster in the process. I couldn't believe it.
Yep.
I didn't expect that. I was trying to look it up real quick. I wanted to pull that up so I could ask you some questions on that expo. But yeah, I was impressed. We all were. We're like, really? So let's talk about axe's historical part. So like, when did you guys start, doing axe crossbows, and at what point did you get to this bow? Because the reason I ask is this bow that we shot here was, over 500 shots through it and no problem whatsoever. And it was actually exciting to do it because I was like, is this thing going to really hold up? Is it going to? And once we got through it, everybody was like, can you ask them for a couple more? I want to hunt with that. So it was a good experience in that sense. That
wipe all the sweat beads off every time.
Yeah, when they felt like, wow, okay, this thing is a solid bow,
Yeah, so I mean, like, we started the project in 2016 or 2017, I think. We did some like 3D printed samples of like the general idea, smaller, more compact, reverse draw, micro diameter bolt, right? Like that was kind of how our axe started. And we launched it in 2019, I believe, 2018 or 2019. So it was a 3-year process to get it launched. And I actually was able to take some animals like long range with it. I actually killed an antelope in Oklahoma at like 105 yards.
Jeez.
Trying to stretch it out there.
Yeah.
That was long. That was a pretty long shot. I took a whitetail in Wisconsin with it that year. Like I actually really enjoyed that bow and shooting it, but it had some things where if you didn't load it, even though you loaded it, the bolt in it, and you had to click the knock on the string, people would somehow manage to not click the knock on the string. Like you'd think that would be like, but it wouldn't actually. They wouldn't click. They would just push it in there, and they wouldn't actually click it on the string. Well, when that happened, you would be able to shoot it, and you would jump the string, blow the bow up. And so we're like, all right, we're kind of starting over. We want a more conventional bow, and we want to make it to where it is bulletproof, as bulletproof as you can make it. So that was kind of what we gave our manufacturer. Like, we want the limbs to be as durable as they can possibly be. We don't want to overload it, so it's going to be a little bit slower. We're going to do this, this, and this. We want to have aluminum rail so it's more accurate. We're going to put this really nice optic on it so that you can shoot out like in your yard. You can shoot out to 100 yards and see how accurate this bow actually is. We want it to have a crank on it. We want it to be adjustable. We don't want it to be too heavy. So we did all those things. And I think one of the coolest things is we kept the quiver design. So like quivers and crossbows are probably one of the most annoying things that you don't think about when you're buying a crossbow, but like you've either got it going across the top of the bow or it's stuck out 3 feet on the right. And so like every time you turn it, it's
I just put it in my bag.
Flag.
I'm done with it.
I was going to say, most people just end up putting it in their bag.
It.
Then, this has happened to me before. You get to where you're going and the quiver's not there anymore. It's like it fell out of your bag, or then you have to turn around in the dark and go find it. So like this quiver's permanently attached, but it's tucked up under the limbs and right along the rail, and so it's out of the way, and you don't have to worry about them. Like they just kind of are. They're always there, and it's super cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. I was gonna say, because like what in my opinion, the bow, again, just a great all-around bow. The weight-wise, everything about it was a nice bow. And I thought this is a great deal for the price point. And I do feel that, I still feel that today. Like, I would definitely hunt with that bow. To me, it's like just a great all-around bow. And I do think if you haven't shot one, you should definitely ask your dealer to check it out, because I do think it's one of those bows that is just a winner, realistically. You guys have so many brands, so if there's a brand you want to talk about, let me know. But I am going to ask some questions, because I don't know if people understand how Rhino is with these blinds, guys. So you guys sent us a few. We have them out here. We opened them up, played with them. But, everybody was, like, in awe how nice they were. Like, the quality, which is the number one. So we have touched blinds from the cheapest Chinese blinds to the nicest blinds, right? But the Rhinos seem to be that solid construction. So put it this way. A lot of the guys, they'll buy the Chinese brand that most of everybody probably knows about. But they don't last. This is the issue. So you spend $100 and it lasts you maybe the one season. Maybe. But by the end of it, you're already up 200, 300 is what I'm getting at. So it's almost better just to really focus on a better brand. And Rhino's been a gold winner for years for the BowHunterPlanet Members' Choice Awards. They've won almost every year exclusively, because people recognize the quality. And then when I got a chance to sit in these things myself, I was thoroughly, not just me, but all the guys, especially the crossbow guys, they loved them. They're like, this is going to be... So that's why Tim and I are actually talking, because we got a new lease this year, so we're going to try to get them up there and start setting them up now as soon as possible. But we're not worried about it, because they're quality. And we know they'll last against...
They're going to last all year.
The Michigan weather. So.
Right. And I don't know which ones you guys got, but if the new low hub full door... Yeah, I think that is amazing. So especially for filming, or like with me, I have 3 daughters, right, that are all into hunting, and me trying to get in a small blind, right. I've got a backpack on, I've got chairs over my shoulder, or I've got a bog pod, a crossbow, and they've got pretty much nothing in their hands. Yeah. But so I'm trying to get all this stuff in this tiny little triangle door or whatever. And, I'm 6'2", 260. Like, it's not like it's a great fit for me anyways. Yeah. And so it's just a struggle to be in there quiet and to actually get everything the way you want it. But with that full door, man, you unzip it, and it's very quiet zipper too. It's not like as long as you don't just rip it around through there. As long as you go slow, it's really quiet. And I can walk in. I don't have to bend over. I don't have to trip over anything. I get in there real quiet, get the kids situated, zip it up. there's enough room in there for all 3 kids plus me if I want. The low hubs, if they're shooting out of a chair, so it's low enough that their feet can be on the ground, the bog pod and the crossbow are there, and they don't have to stand up to shoot.
Yeah.
People don't understand how, if you've never had a kid try to stand up out of a chair when you've got a deer inside of 20 yards, quietly stand up and get on a tripod to make a shot. It is probably, I would say, 8 out of 10 times that's when something is going to go wrong in the hunt. Like they're going to do something that
make a noise,
puts that deer on alert. If they can sit still and make that shot, it changes the success ratio with taking your kids out 100%.
When my son was younger, we had to use a raised seat. Like one of these.
Yeah, they have to.
Put a larger
their legs
seat.
are swinging in there.
That's
that was
what
the
it
whole
was,
point. Yeah, because like
larger seat.
I did that with mine, and
so funny.
They're like, my legs are going to sleep. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, you've got to be this tall.
Yeah, I noticed about that. The door is amazing, but it doesn't have a floor. So like when you don't have to step over anything.
Right.
So people, that's
Right
usually where you go down.
Yep.
To be honest, when you have all that gear on, you step, you clip your foot, and you go down
Every time.
and all that stuff. And it's dangerous, realistically, because you have a bow with arrows and broadheads. And,
Yep.
I mean, so I usually have to. The old days, I put in one item at a time, and then I go in because I was scared to fall. Like
With the ones that don't have it, they have the silent slide windows. So I'll walk around to the front, and you can slide the windows down from the front, and I'll actually put most of my gear in from the front, and then I'll go around and try to get in. But it's still a pain having to take.
Do you guys
your backpack
have
off.
Does Rhino have a chair? Do you guys have chairs?
Yeah, we do have chairs.
Oh, okay.
Yep, we have a couple different ones. So, everything from your basic, like I call it a dove stool, a little folding stool with a pouch under it. We've got one of those with a back.
Oh man, you know what I was going to ask you? I can't ask you on here, but we do have to talk about it. So when I went to 2019, when I went down to that hunt, you guys, because it was like a media review hunt where they would go through and say, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? What do you think of this? I saw a lot of stuff that you guys have never put out.
Yeah.
I need to ask about it because I need to know. I had to sign NDA for this, so I can't say anything about it. But it never came out, and I'm like thinking in my head, like I kept forgetting to ask you about it because, man, there was some stuff you guys had that was really cool stuff. Anyway, sorry.
Yep.
I just wanted to forget. I don't want
It
to.
might still be in the hopper. You never know.
It might be, yeah.
There's a
Say,
couple
or it
of
might be completely done. That's what I was going to find out.
You can never tell.
So this kind of patches in with Wicked. So what's the deal with Wicked? I didn't know you guys acquired Wicked. How long ago was that acquisition? And
It came along with Rhino, actually.
Oh, it came with the same thing.
Yeah, so it came along with Rhino, yeah, and so people kind of underestimate Wicked, but like
it's great quality.
The saws, for the price point, to have a saw that you don't have to buy a new one every year, and I can't tell you how many the plastic ones I've went through, or how many times I've cut my hand because the lock blade thing came loose. When you're trying to limb trees and trim out shooting lanes. But having that aluminum handle and then the positive lock where it can't come open in your bag, and and once it's open, you've got to press the button in order to close it, makes a huge difference. And then how many times I've ruined those saws because I've had to skull cap a deer or saw through legs or whatever. To have that, there's a hybrid blade, so that it's more of a bone wood saw as opposed to just like the super fast and aggressive teeth for just a wood saw. Man, I've used those so many times because right now, where I live, it's North Carolina and Georgia we're 20 minutes apart. Well, I hunt in both states. Well, I can't take a skull across state lines.
Yeah.
So it has to be completely quartered up off
yeah.
of it. So even though I'm 30 minutes from the house, I still have to skull cap that deer before I can actually bring it back home. So I keep one of the hybrid blades in the back of my truck in my little cleaning kit, and that's what I use to take all the skull caps off whenever we get a buck.
Where's Fairdyne located?
It's actually located out of Wisconsin. Yes, Superior, Wisconsin. So I lived up there for 7 years. And the lack of spring is what will get you.
Yeah,
when it's snowing in May,
I feel it here.
Yeah, snowing in May is not fun.
You're back in it right now. So, in Georgia, are you in Georgia then or Carolina?
North Carolina.
So North Carolina probably has it too, but there's this brewery. It's called Sweetwater Brewery.
Yep.
And they got this beer called Blue. and it's incredible. So just have it ready for me when I come down eventually.
Yep.
Just be like, oh, Dave's coming. I got to get this Sweetwater brew because I can't get it here. You can't get it in
you have
Michigan.
to be in Georgia.
So depressing.
Yep.
Yeah. I actually had it in, the first time I had it was in Nashville.
Okay.
Was it Nashville? Yeah, no, it was in Tennessee.
Nashville. Yep.
And then the next time I had it was in, there was a, I'll never forget it because I was like, I was so excited. I was at a pub, I don't know, it was in Tampa area in Florida, and I went to this bar and it said Sweetwater Brewery, you know, we sell Sweetwater Brewery, and they had it there. I was so excited. I was like, oh my God,
It's
really?
like the spotted cow of the
It's
South.
nice though. It's nice because I don't have it all the time.
Exactly.
So I'm not used to it. So when I do get it again, I'm gonna love it again. That's why I'm so excited. It's like Yingling here.
Yeah.
So Yingling, they don't sell in Michigan either, but my neighbor's kid goes to Penn State.
Right.
And so he always has Yingling, and I'm like, oh my God. So now I'm getting bored of it because every time he's like, it's all he's got. He just buys cases of it and brings it home. And I'm like,
It's funny because in Wisconsin it's spotted cow. It used to be Shinerbach in Texas. Whenever we go to
remember
Texas,
that,
everybody was,
yeah.
and then Yingling when you go to Pennsylvania.
So-
This isn't a stick. It's a climbing tool. Purpose-built, field-proven, ridiculously capable. Meet Hydro, the new standard in micro-light climbing performance. Engineered for hunters who climb smarter, faster, and farther, Hydro is equipped with the XR2 rope system, a lightning-fast, rock-solid attachment that thrives in both traditional and technical climbing setups. The wide V bracket, paired with axis teeth, locks into any tree type with total confidence, minimizing kick-out, maximizing control. Fast up, solid down. No wasted energy. Built from our proprietary i7 alloy, Hydro delivers insane strength with minimal weight. An ergonomic handle gives you more comfort on long ascents, and integrated attachment points let you customize with aiders to match your climb style. Each Hydro comes standard with the Reactor 3-step aider, ready to run straight out of the box. Minimal, modular, mission ready. Whether it's the first stick on the tree or the last one down, Hydro is built to perform.
So are you guys still working with Schrade then? With
Yeah,
some stuff?
we still have
It's
the,
like a
the
knife.
Rage Schrade. Yeah, so it's a replaceable blade knife. So if you look at the blade, it's kind of taped. It's like resembles the original Trypan blades, like the way it's scalloped out and stuff. And so we partnered with them and wanted to kind of do. They brought Schrade back, and so we wanted to kind of do something a little different. And those knives are scary sharp.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I know they're replaceable blades, but I'm a big knife sharpening guy. I mean, you can see, if you look at my top of my hand, you can see that there's a spot here where I test sharpness on everything, whether it's broadheads, knives, whatever. And I'm constantly sharpening stuff. So I'll actually take those, and if they work great for going around when you're caping a deer out, going around the pedicles there. And I'll take those blades and I'll just retouch them up because you can break them obviously, but I'll just sharpen the tip of it back up just to go around the bases of the antlers and stuff like that. That way, if I break one, it's not a big deal. It's when I've used 5 or 6 times already, and I'll use the rest of it for put a brand new one in for when I'm skinning or whatever. But it works
that's
great.
awesome. Yeah, those are sweet. I like that style of knife, to be honest. They're so sharp all the time. Makes it easy. I know that people who gut pigs love it for sure because it goes right through. I'll never forget that. We got a pig one time, and we're trying to gut it with a normal knife, and the guy's like, dude, he's like, you're going to be there a long time. He goes, use a razor blade. Like, what? I mean, that type of material where it's sharp and thin works so good.
Yep. Like a zipper.
So, Nocturnal.
Yep.
So this is a brand that's been around a long time, providing archers one of the most, in my opinion, one of the most important things to the arrow is that lighted nock. Number one, getting an idea where you hit the deer is very helpful. Number two, if you're filming, this is an absolute must. And
Yes.
it's so helpful to be able to rewatch the video and see exactly where that light goes. And you can actually see the light go through the deer in a spot. So it's so incredibly helpful. I guess what's your thoughts on it? I mean, nocturnal is just nocturnal, man. They've been around. I guess here, I'll tell you this. Let's start with this real quick. One of the most confusing things for me as an archer, and I think you guys have fixed this recently, is knowing which one to use.
Yep.
So I guess let's talk about that. I think you guys changed the system, right?
Yeah, so we did that, I guess about almost 10 years ago now, maybe 8-9 years ago. Yeah, so it's one of those things. So every, depending on the arrow or the manufacturer and the carbon content of an arrow, it changes the inside diameter a lot, right? So you have to have about, roughly 3 or 4 thousandths of overlap to make it like fit really snug in there, right? Yeah. So we put little crush panels on all of the nocturnals that'll actually fit in there. So that way we could fit better, right? But that didn't solve the problem of when you ask a guy what arrow does he shoot, he says, I shoot a Carbon Express, or I shoot a Maxima Red. Mm-hmm. But he might shoot a Maxima Red SD, or he might shoot a Maxima Red. He doesn't know the specific spine and arrow that he shoots, right? So there was always that issue, and we came up with the fit system where you have a bushing that goes in the back, and then you start with an X size knock, and so that X knock will push into that bushing. So if you're shooting a 5mm arrow, it's always going to be an X size or 203, 204. H isn't really in play anymore, but you still have guys that have H's, right? Yeah. And so we keep that in there.
Skew.
Right, yeah. And then you've got your regular standard, and then you've got your gold tip size, which is 246. And so that makes it super easy to be able to go from one to the other and just have one skew that people carry. And so that's the fit system. And we put that in place, and that's really simplified a lot. But you would be shocked at how many people know what they want, or shops that want that actual sized arrow, and they go with that specific sized arrow. They just don't like the bushing system, but we still sell a ton of the bushing systems.
In that market, the lighted knock market, I feel like it's shrunk. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like there's not that many competitors for nocturnal. I mean, I can only think of 2.
They come and go. So
maybe 3.
Yeah, they come and go. You've got a couple of guys, the original ones out there that have been there for a long time, like nocturnal, and then you've got some people that are trying to come on strong here with a different system, different way to turn it off. But at the end of the day, like, it's really about durability, reliability, I think, really is the kind of the thing.
Nocturnal's been
and brightness. Brightness is a big thing. So bright. I think those are the things that really make people want to buy them. And the frustrating part is all the stuff that you see from which ATA's fighting it, but just direct import stuff where they just knock you off, and we shut them down as fast as we can, but and legal. They just pop up, and they find a different platform. Like you shut them down on Amazon, they show up on TikTok. You shut them down on one
AliExpress.
They're exactly. They're just going from one to the other. So that's super frustrating. And the average guy doesn't think about it. It's like, I'm just saving $1. Well, yeah, but it took us a long time to develop and figure out those things. Like we fail at a lot of projects before we actually put a project out. Like, there's millions of dollars that goes into developing stuff.
They also, though, I think what people don't realize sometimes, and I've started to learn this too as time goes on with things I buy, is if you buy something that's like Chinese knockoff or something like that, it's not the same quality.
No.
I understand it looks the same, and you might think it does the same. It's not. So let's just be like an example. Like if you had an L bracket you wanted for something, right? Yep. Maybe the L bracket you buy here in the States is steel, and it's $5, but you get it on AliExpress for 50 cents. But it's actually a cheap aluminum that doesn't really hold the amount of weight that metal one holds. So just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
So just be very careful. We can't stop you from doing anything, but we're just saying.
Yeah.
Be very careful, because even the lighted knock segment, I have touched those lighted knocks, and they don't last as long, and they're not as good, and they broke on the ends. I've seen it time and time again, and that's why I showed a video recently of the arrow popping out, because that knock lost its pressure.
Yeah, pressure.
And the arrow falls out of the thing, and so that's one of the things okay. So with this concept, that's one of the most important parts. If that arrow falls out and you don't realize that happened, you're going to blow your bow up or hurt yourself.
Is a $2,000 bow worth saving $10?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, like at the end of the day, like
any bow, really.
Any bow,
hundreds of dollar bow. I mean, geez.
Exactly. I mean, even a $500 bow, right? But like the other thing is a lot of times they split. Like so when you're shooting,
that's scary. Yeah.
And so you split an arrow, and that's basically the same.
I would say this: I think the knock is just as important as the arrow.
Yep.
But don't buy the arrows on those spots. I'm telling you right now, that's danger.
Yes.
Because those things, man, same with the knock, though, because the knock can cause the same amount of issues as the arrow. But if that arrow splits in process,
you've got a whole lot of problems.
Yeah, most of
going
us
through your
see
hand.
a hand issue, but
Yep.
God almighty, man, it's scary, that stuff, man. Some of the stuff I understand. Like, if some things people are buying are, like, dumb, like a piece of tape. I don't know, whatever. I get it. But not necessarily in archery. Archery doesn't really have any spots for these things because it just doesn't work. It just doesn't.
No.
Even the broadheads, those are cheap. They're so cheap. They're not the same. People think they're the same. They're actually not.
No. Different materials, different.
They just steal the design.
Exactly.
Material-wise. Let's real quick jump into Scent Crusher. This is something you guys acquired sort of recently. I think, within 5 years, I would say?
Yep.
What's the direction that you guys are planning to go with it? Because I do see it seems a lot different than the original Scent Crusher I remember. But
Yeah, so we tried to simplify it a little bit. So we went with one generator system versus, like, when we got it, they had 3 or 4 different generator systems, and so we went to a single generator system. We've got the bag, we've got the closets, 2 sizes of closets. We've got some traveler bags, different things like that. And so those are the types of things that the luggage, I don't know, it didn't go over as well, but there's like a roller bag that I used that actually had a closet in it. So like you had metal poles you put up.
Sweet.
And so you could actually...
This one?
Yeah.
Roller Bag 2.0?
Yep.
Wow.
The roller bag now, and that doesn't have the closet system, and it just has the normal roller bag.
Yeah.
But it's freaking awesome. Like, you go into a hunting camp, and I mean, I don't know how many times you've been to a lodge or you go to a buddy's place, and like, there's not a closet, right? There's just a place to hang your stuff up. But so you just pop this thing up, and you can hang all your stuff in there to dry at nighttime, and you turn on the ozone machine and just let it go. And if you don't have to zip it up or you do zip it up, either way, it makes it super simple. And then you keep all your stuff in your bag. But the roller bag and overall is a really neat system. The smaller bags, the gear bags are pretty sweet. And then I use my generator because they're all, you can charge them with a USB-C charger now. So I use it. I've got the little ones that go in the truck already, but I use them inside my different rooms of my house. Just pop them in there, especially when cold and flu season happens. I always throw those things in there. You can never be too careful.
So the lockers.
Yep.
Number one, this is to me I'm definitely getting the locker because the locker to me, number one, I want to put this in my garage, and just put all my clothes in there, or even in my room, really, just anywhere I can get it somewhere I can put all my hunting clothes in one spot.
Yep.
That are specific. So, for instance, this year we're actually getting some new clothes from Element. They were going to send us some clothes this year, and I'm looking forward to that because I wanted to. This will give me a chance to. I think what I might do is just get rid of all my old stuff, like just give it away, donate it.
Yep.
Because I have a lot, man. Like companies would send us
crazy
tons of stuff, man. Like Under Armour sent us a ton years ago, and I still have it because it's really good stuff. It doesn't fall apart or anything.
Yep.
And then companies will send us one-offs here and there. Hey, check this out. Let me know what you think of this outfit. And I try to give it to the kids, when I can. But the gear bag, the locker's great. If you're looking to get all your stuff in order, keep it, moth-free, that kind of stuff, right? Keep it clean, put the generator in there, keep it scent-free if you'd want, it's up to you. Or you can still use the locker as the locker. I mean, I think the idea you can put your boots in here. I mean, there's so many things for $210.
I put my backpack in there. So, like, that's another thing. People don't think about, like, storing your hunting bag. Like, keep it where it's scent-free, right?
Yeah.
Put all I have different spots, and it's got two levels. I put all my kids' clothes on one level and all my clothes on another. The socks go in there, the gloves. Like, there's no chasing stuff down. Like, it's all together.
Yeah.
And
right now, I'm a mess.
Yeah.
this is going to organize me coming up. But
the locker lot is one I have in my. I have
cool.
It's a smaller space.
Perfect though.
When I had one in the garage in Duluth, I had the big locker out there, and it was awesome.
Yeah, this is so. Is this do you guys have different generations of that?
Yeah, yep.
I think we had one at our old hunt camp. I know we had one.
The old tan and orange.
Yeah, I think
one,
it
probably.
was. Yeah, the original company I think sent it to me a long time ago.
Yep.
Anyway, this bag here, the scent-free mat bag.
Yep.
Hear me out. It's $15. Okay, this thing, $15. I'll throw it up on the screen.
Yep.
I would buy 10 of these if I was you, if I'm being honest. I would separate my things, and I have these today, some of these, and I separate my outfits by this. So, like, I can do, and even if I put it in the locker, I can still separate it in here and put, like, September for light, like super light, medium, heavy, and then this allows me to have an outfit for each thing I can just grab, especially
You
to
throw it
go
in
to
the
hunt
truck.
camp.
You throw it in the truck, and then, a lot of people have a pretty good commute to where they're going to hunt, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to get in the truck that you've been eating in, your dog's been in, your kids have been in, you whatever, all the smells in it. When you get there, you take your clothes out on the tailgate, you put your mat down, take your shoes off, get dressed, put your boots on,
man.
and that's what the changing mat portion of it's for. But just like you said, you keep it all separated, and for $15, why wouldn't you do that?
Even colors, if you just want to separate by camo.
Yep.
And you can even put boots in that bag. Maybe, I don't know what size will fit, but it's probably pretty big, I would think.
And we have we actually have the traveler bag now that is actually designed for a pair of boots.
Ooh,
and then it's cool. It's got boots that it's kind of shaped for boots, and you could actually put some other, like if you wanted to put a shirt or some some small, probably not heavy duty winter stuff, but some lightweight stuff. You can throw that in there too, and
you guys can see how this conversation can go from broadheads to storage.
Yeah.
Such a wide variety
yeah,
of things to talk about. It's interesting because it's just when you think about SKU wise, you guys have to have a lot of SKUs, I assume, because you're talking each brand. I mean, Nocturnal alone's probably got so many SKUs, it's probably more than the rest of the company.
Arrows has the most.
Is it Arrows?
Arrows has the most. But yeah, I mean, Nocturnal's pretty SKU intensive. Arrows is pretty high. Bow fishing's got a lot just because there's different variations of some stuff.
Yeah, but before we tune out real quick, I just wanted to put this in the frame here and let you talk about this just for a second because it is such a unique design.
Yep.
And I actually left the thing for you there. I don't know if there's any need in there, probably not. But so tell us about this thing, man. This thing is crazy.
Oh, so this was 3 years of work, kind of coming to fruition.
Yeah.
The Deviant is what the name of it is, and that's a variation of the norm. It's kind of what the word deviant to deviate means. And so this is not the norm, right? So we went from a lever style design on which is pretty popular in bow fishing. So this is a hybrid lever cam. So it's not a wheel bow, and it's not a lever bow. So we've done camless lever bows with our LVX and VXM. So what this does is it preloads all of your weight where it stacks up in the first 4 or 5 inches of the draw length, and then it rolls over in a very smooth fashion. It doesn't have this big dump like what a wheel bow does, and it doesn't stack like a camless lever bow does. So it makes it very smooth, a very smooth transition, and it doesn't really change the power that much when you go from a 26-inch draw length to a 29-inch draw length. Isn't that much of a drop-off where a lot of the ones that have the power at the back, you lose a lot of that energy when you do that. So it's adjustable from, I believe it is 19 to 29 inches. Yeah, 19 to 29 inches of draw, so you get 10 inches of draw length.
That is how you adjust the draw of this thing here.
Yep, those draw stops, there's one on each end. You can do it in about 30 seconds. I mean, it takes no time.
Yeah.
One Allen wrench, and you can adjust it. And it goes from 15 to 50 pounds. So weight-wise, anybody can shoot this bow. It comes with a shelf rest, typically on it.
Yeah, it had a kit. This is just FYI. I put this on just to shoot it here.
Yes.
Because people want to see. I'm like, let me throw a whisker on.
Yeah,
and shoot
exactly.
It real quick.
You can shoot it.
But it does have a kit.
Yeah, you can't shoot a regular arrow with vanes on it without that. It's got this neat. Right here where your reel seat goes. We have a reel seat that uses a pick system, just like how people are using pick systems for their sights and whatnot.
That's cool.
That makes it super quick and easy to take on and off. So right now, in bow cases, you can't have one. You can't leave the reel seat on and zip it all the way. So it's a quick disconnect there, and it's got a quick disconnect lever system for taking the reel off. The grip, we worked on this grip to where it fits your hands really well. You can. To tune this bow, you don't have to have a bow press. You can put it in a press, but you can actually twist, do cable twists and whatnot without having to put it in there. It comes with a line puller down on the side of it. There's tons of different things.
Does something there probably.
So that's a tip wrench. So it's top and bottom. So when you're trying to, after you get done with your fish, to tighten your tip back up, you just stick it in there and turn your arrow. That way you don't have to have pliers or something in your hands. You just hold the bow, stick it in, and give it a twist, and it cinches it down so you don't have to worry about your tip coming loose.
Yeah, good idea.
I mean,
really good.
There's a lot of innovation that went in there.
I don't do enough bow fishing, but this year I told the guys hey, we got to help out Muzzy and do some bow fishing because I want to do it.
So we're headed out tomorrow to do where we first started testing this bow. We broke a lot of these doing it, but we're going to shoot stingrays over in Virginia So this will be our third year in a row doing it. And the first year that we took these, it was like the third rendition of it, I guess. From all aluminum, like outboard hybrid lever cams were aluminum. It was solid, heavy, bulky riser. And we went from that to a new design.
So you guys designed this?
Yep.
So can you, I'm just throwing this idea out there, but can this be made into a regular bow?
Yeah, it could be.
Might be an idea for
Yep.
kids or something, or
Yep.
for adults?
We actually are, we're
Has it
actually,
got enough power?
I mean,
How many
depending
pounds
on,
could it shoot, you think?
I mean, we're working on one. I'm going to test one this weekend right
Just
now.
give me 50.
That's
That's all I need.
I think it goes to like, it's a smaller draw length right now, but it's going to like 35 or 40 pounds as a kid's
What do
bow.
you need, like 48 to kill a deer?
40 depending on what you're doing. Some states are 40. Now I chased whitetails with this last year for about a month, and everything I tried to do, it ended up just not working out. I never got a shot off. I had a couple in range that would just never give me a good shot opportunity, and but I got pretty proficient shooting it, and I did just what you did. I put a whisker biscuit on there.
Yep.
And shot it with. I took the finger savers off. I just shot it with gloves and instinctive, no sights. I did put a little stabilizer on the front of it just to kind of give it a little bit of weight, so it would kind of follow through. Aside from that, it was a quiver and the whisker biscuit.
You know, besides, so when I think about the industry for hunting, for archery, not bow fishing, besides Matthews doing their limb split thing, besides Bowtech's technology in their cams, and besides Prime's new mix of metal and thing, this would be one of the coolest, newest things out there, doing something like this for actual hunting bow.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there, because this is much different. This is the most interesting thing since the Oneida, the original Oneida type feel, right? Which is totally different than this, because it's a lever system. But I've never seen the ability to get the power doing it. This is so smart. Like, I would never think... You know what I mean? Like, I see exactly what happened here. Instead of this being on the limb, you guys put it here instead of having the levers. And
Yep.
So the original one you guys did, 3 years ago, the lever system, was that based off the Oneidas?
Yep.
Okay, so that was like an Oneida.
It was kind of powered
design.
by Oneida. Like
Okay.
we actually did
not
license.
have those anymore?
We still have the VXM version of it, which is the magnesium riser version of it. We still have that right now. Yeah.
And people will still buy that a lot.
Yeah, they still buy those.
I can see a lot of people buying them because they like the Oneida. They don't want to spend the amount of money for the was it the Kestrel or no?
The Osprey.
Osprey.
Yep.
Yeah. I have a few of them here. I'll show you later. But
Yep.
so because they're pretty expensive, and I see that they would probably want to pay a little less, but get some of the same concepts. You know.
Exactly. You get the same feel to an extent, but you don't get quite the oomph when you're going with a camless to the cammed. But yeah, people really jumped on that, and it's just like anything else. It actually generated. You know, we were the first to do it. And then within 2 years, there were 3 companies that had a very similar design out there. Yeah, so it's just one of those things that once you develop something, everybody's like, oh yeah, this is they did this. We could try this, or and so we a lot of times are the guinea pigs when we come up with
just
ideas.
throwing this out there, but it could actually turn into Muzzy, making a youth bow. Is a real bow. I mean, just like, hey, you know what? Let's add a segment, because you guys have all the segments. It's not like you can't do it. You got rage, you got everything that's in there. So why not? Why not do a kid bow with some arrows already in there, or a couple of heads, whatever? Just throwing it out there.
Oh, we don't trust me. We've
just some thoughts.
It's been discussed. If this one works well,
I mean, that'd be cool.
I actually kind of want to. I need to look into a little more about the bear bow category that people shoot all the time at these competitions. That would make a great, because it shoots like a longer axle to axle setup.
Yeah.
You don't get the finger pinch with it, and it's super lightweight, and I think people would really do well with it shooting bear bow.
I know, Chris. Thanks for being here, man. I appreciate it. I'm real excited this year. I think it's gonna be a great year. I can't wait to get flinging some arrows here in the studio and put those Carbon Express arrows to work. And let's see if your blocks can hold up, man. This is going to be intense.
I like it.
All right, we'll see you guys next time at Outdoor Podcast, powered by BowHunterPlanet. We'll see you.